Hello students, today let us discuss about 2D geometric transformations. Let us see what is the definition for geometric transformation. Let us understand it first. So operations that are applied to geometric description of an object to change its position, orientation or size is called geometric transformations. So these are the operations. So geometric transformation is nothing but the operations that we are going to apply on geometric description of an object. So what is this geometric description of an object? So object can be anything. It can be a point or a polygon or a line or any cube. So anything it may be, but we are going to apply certain operations on the geometric description of the object. So what is this geometric description? Geometric description is nothing but you can say, for example, for a line, you can say that the length of the line is called a geometric description, or coordinate information like x1, y1, you will be having x2, y2 position values. So these are called the geometric description of the object. So we are applying operations on these geometric descriptions of any object. So let us see what are the basic transformations we can apply to the geometric objects. So here we can apply in OpenGL, we can apply translation, scaling and rotation. So you might be thinking, what is the purpose of translation or scaling or rotations? Okay, first let us see what the translation is. Okay, for example, I say here you consider an object. Okay, an object, suppose you have a object like this, you are going to represent on the screen, and if you are moving, so you are actually representing the particular object with respect to xy coordinates, is it? So suppose you move this object to some other position in the same plane. Okay, so then you have actually moved the positions of the objects, is it? So you have just put the position where actually it was, maybe here it was, is it? So you have moved it to some other position, so that is called translation. Okay, so that is the meaning of translation. Another thing we have, that's called scaling. Okay, so you might be thinking, what is the use of scaling? So you have an object and now you want to alter the shape or size of the object. Okay, maybe you want to increase the size or decrease the size of the object. Okay, so then we call it as scaling. Okay, and next we have the purpose of rotation. What is the purpose of rotation? Suppose you are going to change the orientation of the object. So you are going to rotate an object, any object, with respect to xy coordinates. Okay, so then we call it as in rotating the object, means it is called, it is nothing but the orientation of the object. Okay, so then we call it as rotation. And another one we have, that is another basic transformation we have, that is called shearing, shear effect we say. So shearing means, if suppose you have an object, say you have a cube, okay, and you are going to deform that object or you want to change the shape of the object, then we call it as shearing. Okay, so that is another basic transformation only. But let us discuss the three main basic transformations, that is translation, scaling and rotation. Translation, rotation, scaling. So all these are the geometric transformation functions that is available in the graphics packages. So first let us understand the two-dimensional translation. how it works. Okay, two-dimensional translation, the first point here. So it is the two-dimensional translation is one of the rigid body transformation. So what is this rigid body transformation? Rigid body transformation is nothing but you are actually moving the object without any deformation. You are not going to change any shape of the object. Okay, you are not going to resize anything. Okay, just you are moving the object from one place to another without any deformation. So that's why we call the translation function as rigid body transformation. Okay, so now the 2D translation, it translates an object by adding offsets to the coordinates to generate new coordinate positions. So how exactly you might be moving an object to another position in the 2D plane. So for example, you take here, consider x-axis, okay, and y-axis. So this is a 2D plane. You have a point that is represented as P, and now we want to move this point to the other position on the xy plane, that is P dash. Okay, so you are moving from this original position, that is original position was represented with P, and you are going to move it to another position, and this point is represented with P dash. Okay, so you are actually when you are going to have certain displacement, okay, you are actually adding an offset to the coordinate values. So suppose I say here you have the initial coordinate values for x point, that is sorry, P point as x comma y, okay, and actually you are going to add certain offset values that is represented by Tx and Ty to the corresponding xy positions, and so this is actually your displacement, you can say Tx and Ty is the change in the positions here. Okay, so that is, you can say it as an, you are going to add an offset to the original uh, xy coordinate. Okay, so then a new position you have been generated. Okay, that's we represented by, for example, you represent it by x1 or x dash, you can say x dash comma y dash. So this is a new point you are going to get here. So here, so you had initial position point P here, that is represented as x comma y, and you have just to move this particular point to another position P dash, and this P dash point is represented with coordinates. Again the geometric description, it is P dash as x dash comma y dash. Okay, so what is this offset? So you have Tx, you have going to add Tx and Ty values, so that's called offset to the original coordinate values, and you have generated a new coordinate positions. What are the new coordinate positions? X dash comma y dash. So set Tx comma Ty be the translation distance we have. So now let us take the translation distance as Tx and Ty. So now calculate the new position value of P dash. Okay, so how you can calculate the new position value? That is given by x dash is equal to, so x dash is here, you can say that, okay, x dash. So now you are calculating x dash value, so that is equal to previous x value, that is previous x value, so that is the original point value you have, x value, so x, then add an offset that is represented as Tx. Okay, adding an offset value, that is Tx, and next you have y dash value. Y dash is given by y plus Ty. Okay, similarly y dash value you have to calculate, that is for the new position, or y dash is a new coordinate value you are going to get. after moving the point. So that is y dash is equal to previous y value whatever you had plus the offset value or ty value you have. Okay, so this is the points you are going to get after displacement. Okay, so this particular points whatever you have p or whatever you have moved the position, okay, that is represented as t1 here, the displacement you have here, is it? So that's represented by t1. So that and p dash all can be represented using matrix format. So any geometric object whatever you have on the screen will be actually represented as matrix in OpenGL. And now I am going to represent a point P using matrix. So let us see what is the matrix format you have. So first let us take here P is equal to, okay, you have a column vector that is with x and y values. Okay, the point P is represented with x and y. So first row we will be going to write as x, second row y, and next you have P dash. So that is the new point you have generated. P dash is equal to x dash divided by x dash in the first row, second row you are going to write so y dash. So this is the next column vector you have. And t is the displacement, okay, or you say translation vector or shift vector you say. So that is t is equal to tx, and also you have another value t1. So this is also another column matrix you have, or you can say this is actually the displacement. So in our maths, okay, how do you represent any two-dimensional translation equation in matrix format? So this is how you represent the matrix format. And in simple manner if you want, or general equation if you want to write, it is p dash, that is the new point whatever you have generated, p dash is equal to p plus t. Okay, that is p is the original point position p in the vector format, column vector format, plus the offset value that is also again represented with matrix format. Okay, so this is how you are going to represent the 2D translation. So now you have all written for only one single point. Suppose you have consider a triangle. If you consider a triangle, again triangle will consist of 3 points. So this is again a polygon. So now if you want to apply the translation for the triangle, then again you have to write the separate equations for x dash, y dash. That means all points, again you have to generate 3 more points there. Okay, since here in this particular page I have represented only a point, one single point, I have written only one equation. Suppose if you are writing for the triangle, suppose if you are writing for triangle, then again the x dash, y dash, 3 new x dash, y dash you have to write, is it? But because the triangle has 3 points. Again other polygon, somewhere if you are representing a quadrilateral, okay, then again you may have to write 4 points. Like this, it's based on this translation distance or calculation of translation distance, or your this formula, everything will depend on which polygon you want to translate or which geometric object you want to translate. So here we have considered a simple example, that is movement of a point from one point to another point position on the screen. Okay, so same way here another points you have, see here you have got original point here somewhere and you have moved to other position. Okay, and you are going to again represent the translation vector with t2. Okay, this was for previous example, that was for t1. We could translate an object by applying equation to every point of an object. Okay, because Each line in an object is made up of infinite set of points. However, this process would take infinitely long time. So that means, for example, you consider a polygon here. Okay, a polygon, and this polygon is made up of number of points. Is it? Number of points. So there may be so many points, we cannot see that with the eyes. But now if you want to translate this object to some other place, or you can say you want to move to some other position on xy plane, then again you can apply uh, the equation whatever you had earlier, translation equation you had, right? So that equation can be applied again for each of the points on the polygon, but that would take a longer process to calculate all these values. uh, but instead of that, we have an easier way to translate any object in OpenGL or in your graphic system. That is, just you have to move the endpoints of the particular polygon. Okay, so or any object consists of endpoints. So fortunately, we translate all the points on a line by translating only the line endpoints and drawing a new line between the endpoints. So just we have to what you have to do, you have to translate the line segments. The line segment consists of again the endpoints, so that we can easily translate without worrying about the translation of each of the points. Hmm. So that is very easy, okay, to translate a line segment. So let us see this figure that translates a house, that is was actually represented by 3 comma minus 4. So they have represented the actual points maybe, and translate the house by 3 comma minus 4. So that means they have given 3 comma minus 4 means they have given actually uh, the translation distance, you can say tx and ty values. Okay, tx and ty values. So how you can translate these positions now? So it actually, your house is represented with see here, you have got a line segment that is represented with 4 comma 5. One is a one endpoint and the endpoint is 7 comma 5. So now add these offset values. So 4 plus 3, you get 7. Okay, 7 you got, and 5 plus minus 4, that is you get 1. Okay, so you get 7 comma 1 as a new position, or you can say the new x dash values you get, x dash and y dash value. Okay, again 7 comma 5 you have, so you can say this is original value, x and y values, you can say like that. And now you are going to add the offset value. What is the offset value? Tx is 3, so 7 plus 3, 7 plus 3 is 10, and 5 minus 4 you get 1. So now actually you have moved the house to a newer position, that is with the endpoints you have here 7 comma 1 and 10 comma 1. So now let us see the code for translating a polygon from one position to another position. So let us see the code. It started with class, okay, point 2d public GL float x comma y. So this is you have declared initially the x and y values of the polygon, and next void translate polygon, and you have mentioned the vertex array for the points, and GL int number of vertices you are going to define. So for example, in a polygon, if you are taking a simple triangle, you will be having 3 vertices. So, and next if it's a square, you are going to define 4 number of vertices. So this gives you the number of vertices, and then you have tx and ty values, that is displacement values or displacement vector, you can say, or translation vector, that's given by tx and ty. So these are again floating values, but number of vertices will be integer. And next let us take gl int k. Okay, this is for iteration. For example, if you are considering a simple point, if you want to move a simple point, the for loop is not needed. You just have to take only these two codes. You have to write only these two codes. Suppose if, so I say here, if you are going to move only a single point, then this two code is enough. No need of writing the for loop. If suppose if you are going to move a polygon, here you are especially concentrated to move a polygon. Okay, then polygon may have it will at least have three vertices, starting with three vertices. Then it may be having 4, 5, number of vertices may increase. Okay, depending on the object you want to move. But here we have considered a polygon, that's why we need a for loop. So for k is equal to 0, k less than number of vertices, comma k plus plus. So let us see the code. Vertex vertex position, a new x dash, you can say. Okay, so suppose if you are actually moving a point, okay, then you are actually calculating p dash. Okay, and this may be the x dash, the new x dash in y dash values. Is it? How do you calculate x dash? That is equal to x plus, okay, previous original x value you can say, plus the uh, translation distance, that is tx. And next, new y value, new y value you want to calculate, that is equal to old y value plus the translation distance ty. Okay, so this will continue until k is less than number of vertices. And now we want to draw a polygon. Okay, now we have just calculated, so this part only it's for calculation of vertices, the new vertices calculation. And now we want to actually draw the polygon on the screen. So then let us write the code. GL begin GL underscore polygon for k is equal to 0, k less than again the number of vertices, comma k plus plus. Okay, GL vertex 2f. So it is going to take the values from the array. Okay, all these values, the new vertex values, whatever you have in previously calculated, maybe you have calculated here, that is x dash y dash positions. So those values will be retrieved here. Okay, so vertex x, new x position, and vertex new y position. Okay, so then so since it is an again a for loop you have taken. Okay, suppose if you are considering a polygon, that is simple triangle, if you are considering, there will be three vertex you have to consider. Okay, three, you are going to join three vertices. Okay, that is using the function gl underscore polygon. Suppose if you are going to draw only points, okay, then it will be, that is if you are moving only points, then you will be writing gl underscore points. Okay, that is the changes you can write here in the in this particular parameter. Okay, so then gl end, so gl begin has to end with gl end. Let us see the 2D rotation. So we have one more operation called 2D rotation in 2D geometric transformation. So let us see how it works. Whenever you want to specify the rotation, then you have to specify the rotation axis as well as the angle. So here angle of rotation, when you are saying, suppose here consider one example. You have xy plane. This is 2D plane, so that we consider only xy plane. And now suppose if you want to move a particular point, that is x, that is represented by x comma y, to a newer position x dash comma y dash, then here you have an angle of rotation. Okay, see that it's represented by theta. Okay, angle of rotation is represented by theta. So you have to represent a rotation axis and the angle to do any rotation. So now let us see how to write the coordinate values in the form of polar form. Okay, so now suppose if you have done the rotation, you have to specify it in the polar form for calculations. So the now x value, suppose here I say the initial positions, you have to understand how to write, that is x and y value are the original point position. So I say here x and y position it is. So how do you write x and y position? So if you see here, draw a line from x comma y position to the x axis, then you get an angle of this as phi. Okay, represent it as phi, that is angle between x comma y point and the x axis. Okay, so that is represented as phi. Okay, so now you have the opposite side, that as y, and here adjacent side x you have, and hypotenuse is represented by r. Okay, it is represented by r. So how do you write the equation now? So you know, in maths you might have learnt cos phi. Okay, you have learnt what is cos phi. Cos phi is equal to adjacent side here is x divided by hypotenuse. Okay, so cos phi is equal to x by r. The same formula, if you are just rearranging, then you can get it as x is equal to r cos phi. Okay, next equation we have to write for the position value y. Okay, the original point position value y. Y can be also represented now. So you know what is sin phi? What is sin phi? Sin phi is opposite side divided by adjacent side. Okay, opposite side is y and adjacent side is, sorry, not adjacent side, you can say opposite side divided by hypotenuse, that is r. Okay, and again what is y? If you rearrange it, y is equal to r sin phi. So this is how you get the values for x and y. So in the polar form. Okay, now you want to calculate the position, new position after rotation. Okay, so after rotation you get a point in a newer position. So let me show you here. So original point position was x comma y, and now you have just rotated this with respect to x axis, and you have placed this point x comma y in x dash comma y dash position. Now again you get certain angle, is it? So what is the angle with respect to x axis? That is phi plus theta, but the r remains same. Okay, that is r. Again you have here reference point, or we can say it here as a rotation point. Okay, rotation point is same, it is not changed. Rotation point is, you have the origin itself. Okay, so R value also has not changed, but your x dash y dash value will be changed, and the angle of rotation is also being changed. So we can write the same equation now, that is x dash y dash is equal to, let us see how to write that. Now x dash is equal to r. R is the same angle, same value you have, that is r itself. See here, the same value r. Okay, r into cos phi plus theta. That's because you have just changed the position. Okay, that is you have, originally you had only, for x you had only phi. Okay, now we are adding an angle of rotation, that is theta. Okay. So that's why r cos phi plus theta you have. So you know the equation for cos a plus b. You have learned it in maybe in lower semesters. Cos a plus b is equal to cos a cos b minus sin a sin b. Is it? The same formula you can apply here for this particular equation. So let us write it as r cos phi into cos theta minus r sin phi into sin theta. Okay. So that is equal to, now if you see, what is r cos theta? R cos theta is x from the above equation. Okay, you have an equation here, is it? That same equation says that r cos theta is equal to x. So that's why I replace r cos theta as x here, and I write same cos theta minus, what is r sin theta? R sin theta is here. It's equal to y. So that's why I write minus y sin theta. Okay. So this is our final equation we have for x dash, the new x dash position. Okay. Next we want to calculate the other value for y dash. So you have a point here, y dash, that was after rotation you have moved y to y dash position. So what is y dash? Y dash is equal to r r sin phi plus theta. Is it phi plus theta? Okay. You have just added an angle here. So that is phi plus theta. So that is equal to, if you elaborate it, sin a plus b. What is sin a plus b? That is equal to sin a cos b plus cos a sin b. So that's why you can write it as r cos phi into sin theta plus r sin phi cos theta. What is r cos phi? Or r cos phi is x. R cos phi is x. So that's why we write x sin theta plus, what is r sin phi? R sin phi is y. So plus y cos theta. So you have got now a new position for x and y, that is x dash comma y dash. Now again, suppose if you want to represent all these values in a matrix format, then you can write it as rotation angle r is equal to cos theta. So here again, if you see, you can easily write it. The previous equation, consider here two equations, whatever the new values you got. Okay, first equation, if you see here, let us see how to write that. It is again x value, it is new x y value. You are going to write in second row again here x and y. Now you see the coefficient of x. You have cos theta, that is what I write here. See the equation, let me tell you here. See the equation, x dash is what? It is x cos theta minus y sin theta. So you write what's the coefficient here, that is cos theta minus sin theta. Y coordinate, this coordinates coefficient is minus sin theta. So that's what we write here. y coordinates. In second row again, y dash equation, if we consider x sine theta plus y cos theta. So what is, you have the coordinate values here, that is coefficient, you have sine theta and cos theta, so that's why we write it sine theta and cos theta. And the general equation, if you are going to write it, you can write it as p dash is equal to r into p, that is p dash is the new position you have here, that is x dash y dash. Okay, this is again you can represent in matrix format, into r, that is equal to r. R is what, again you have matrix, into p. P can be again the two uh, x and y values you will be writing. You know how to write, the previous slides we have written, same way you're going to write, that is a column matrix you will be writing for p dash and p, but r will be in this format, it's 2 cross 2 matrix. And next, so now up to here we have considered the pivot position or the rotation point as the origin, okay, 0, 0. But now let us take this position to somewhere else. Okay, so what happens, let us see to the rotation equations. So now I have just moved this particular point to away from the origin. Okay, the pivot point or the rotation point I have just moved from origin to x comma, or an arbitrary point, you can say you have moved it to arbitrary pivot position, that is represented by xr comma yr. Okay, now again the same movements I do for the position point, that is x comma y. Okay, x comma y has got angle of angle with respect to x axis as phi. Okay, and rotation angle you have that as theta. So rotation about the point x comma yr can be written as x dash is equal to xr plus r cos theta we write, is it? So this is xr is what, xr and yr both you have to add here, that is the new arbitrary position value I am going to write here. Okay, but what is this x comma xr? X comma xr is r. Okay, r is actually you are going to write, okay, this is r, that is r into cos theta minus again y minus yr. Okay, so you have that is r again, okay, r value itself into sine theta, and again for y dash is equal to what you can write is yr, that is the arbitrary point yr plus x minus xr. Okay, x minus xr is this one, r itself. We can say here this r is given by x minus xr and y minus yr. That is changes you have done. So that's what we are going to write here. So in geometric transformations we have two kinds of rotations. One rotation may be in counterclockwise direction, or you can say it as anti-clockwise direction. Okay, rotation is anti-clockwise. Another kind you have, that is clockwise direction rotation. So here consider the figure. The figure shows the rotation of a mouse by 45 degrees. So you can say that the degree, what is that, theta value is 45 degree you are going to consider here. And remember that if it is a positive value, the degree is positive, then we say it as your object is moving in counterclockwise direction. That means here consider this object and it moves upward direction, then we tell it as anti-clockwise direction or counter-clockwise direction rotation. And suppose if your degree is negative, suppose if we have the degree given as negative degree, then you are going to move the object in clockwise direction. Okay, that means you are going to move it in downwards direction, the object in downwards direction. So that is the two main differences you have. And suppose if your angle of rotation is counterclockwise, then we use normal formula, that is x dash is equal to r cos phi plus theta, and y dash is equal to r sin phi plus theta. That is when your angle of rotation is counterclockwise. If your angle of rotation is negative, or say you have a clockwise direction rotation, then you have to just change the formula as x dash is equal to r cos phi minus theta and y dash is equal to r sin phi minus theta. Okay, so you know the formula of cos A minus B and sin A minus B. So that same formula you can apply in case of clockwise direction rotation. Okay. So till now in the previous slide, whatever we have studied, that is it gives the example of counterclockwise direction. So every time if counterclockwise means, remember that the degree the theta value will be positive value. Consider the code for rotation of a polygon. Okay, so initially define the class, point 2D rotation you want to do, and public float x and y variables. Void rotate polygon, point 2D, it is an array of vertices you are going to pass, so that's why we write in this manner, asterisk sign and vertex. And then GL int number of vertices, n vertex means number of vertices of a polygon, and point 2D pivot point, so that is you can take a pivot point as origin, or you can take an arbitrary point on the xy plane. And next you have GL double theta, that is theta will be the angle of rotation. And next we have going to define vertex 2D point for vertex rotation, that is mainly for defining the vertices after rotation occurs. Okay, so this array is actually storing the vertices after rotation. So this previous one whatever we have defined, that is the initial vertex values. Okay, these vertex values are after rotation vertices. So again this is an array, it's stored in array form. And next GL int k you are going to define, you want iterations now. So if it is a polygon, you have to now generate the vertices. Okay, that is x dash and y dash. So let us see the for loop for k is equal to 0, k less than n, number of vertices k plus plus, and then you are going to define two values, that is x dash and y dash. So let us take the vertex values of x dash. Okay, well, how we can write x dash? X dash is the value xr, or you can say arbitrary point, whatever you are going to choose, pivot point we say, that is the value here, and plus x minus xr you are having actually in formula. So x minus xr is nothing but here again vertex you have the previous vertex value minus xr. Okay, so this is the formula when you are going to have the rotation about the arbitrary point. So that same formula you are going to apply here. So let me write that formula. I'll just write it over this. How do you get x dash is equal to xr? So that is your arbitrary point, and x minus xr you have, and then cos theta and minus y minus yr sin theta. So this is your formula. Okay, the same formula we are going to write in terms of code. Okay, next formula you have y dash is equal to yr plus x minus xr into sin theta and y minus yr cos theta. So same formula we are going to write in this manner. So you are actually here in this particular loop you are going to generate the vertices of the polygon, new vertices after rotation takes place. And now this rotated vertices you have to just draw using GL begin GL underscore polygon for k is equal to 0, k less than the number of vertices, k plus plus. And one by one you start drawing the points. So this is an array. So you are going to take the array values from the previous code. Okay, whatever you have generated x. So GL vertex 2f vertex rotated point x comma vertex rotated point y GL and next 2D geometric transformation we have, that is scaling. So what do you mean by scaling? So suppose if you are going to change the size of an object, we call it as scaling. So here we have scaling transformation. Suppose you say square you have initially. So suppose think that you have a square and this square if you want to change it to a rectangle and you want to make it bigger in size, so then we call it as scaling. So now your square has been undergone the scaling transformation and it has increased its size, so that's called scaling. So to alter the size of an object by multiplying the coordinates with the scaling factor sx and xy, so what you have to do, the how to get the values of the scaled object. Okay, that is using the formula x dash and y dash. So what is x dash? X dash is the previous original vertex value into the scaling factor sx. Okay, and similarly y dash is equal to y into sy. Okay, the scaling factor sy. So this is actual formula for scaling. So it is y dash. And now if you are writing the same formula in terms of matrix format, so let us see. So the new values whatever you are going to generate, that is defined as x dash and y dash, so we will write it in column matrix, and next you have 2 cross 2 matrix, so that is giving the values of x coordinate, coefficients of x coordinate and y coordinates. So if you see this particular formula, how do you write this values here, that is using this formula. So what is x component? X dash components are x into x sx. Okay, so x coordinate value, let us take here what actually you are writing is in first row x y coordinate value, and here also the first column represents x and y coordinate value. So if you see here, the main component of x dash is sx, or you can say x coefficient is sx. What is y coefficient? You don't have anything, so we enter it as 0. Whereas in the second formula you have y dash is equal to y sy. So what is y's coefficient? You have sy, so that we are going to enter here. But x component is 0, so that's why we enter 0 here. So this is how you write 2 cross 2 matrix for scaling factors. Okay, then you have the into original xy values. So simply if you are going to generally write the scaling factor or scaling matrix, if you are going to write, how do you write? P dash is equal to s into p. Okay, so remember that this is a multiplication process. Okay, in translation you actually you are going to add the translation factor. Here it's you are going to add the scaling factor, multiplying the scaling factor. So this is p dash is equal to s into p. And next you have choosing a fixed point xf and yf as its centroid to perform scaling. So let us see how to perform the scaling. with respect to certain centroid point chosen on the screen, that is xf and yf. So if you are going to do the scaling with respect to xf and yf, then x dash, you can write it as x dash is equal to s into sx plus xf1 minus sx. So this is scaling factor of s, and y dash is equal to y into sy plus yf 1 minus sy. So this is our scaling formula. The two main formulas you have to write. For in the coding also you have to write the same formula. Okay, so you know scaling of objects can be applied even for lines or any polygon or triangle, anything it may be. But there are three conditions here to be noted. So what are the three conditions is, first one you have, if suppose sx value and your sy value, if it is in the range 0 to 1, 0 to 1, the point that is xy points we are saying, okay, original points before scaling, okay, points will be closer to origin, closer to origin. Closer to origin, and remember that size decreases, size of the object decreases in this case. Second case you have when sx and both sy values are greater than 1. If it is greater than 1, then your points will be moving away from the origin, and the size will be decreasing in this case. Size of the object will decrease. And third case you have, that is when both sx and sy values are equal. Okay, so you are not going to do any scaling in this actually in this particular case. Okay, your scaling will be done in a uniform manner. So that is the third case. So now let us see one example. So let us take the example. In this figure, this house is scaled by 1 by 2 in x and 1 by 4 in y. So that is the values sx and sy values. Okay, your scaling factors they are given initially. Okay, 1 by 2 means 0.5 and 1 by 4, you know. So both are less than 1. Okay, both sx and sy values are less than 1. So less than 1 means the first condition will be true in this case. It means sx, I said that if sx and sy values are between the range of 0 and 1, your points will start moving towards the origin, and size also decreases in that case. So notice here the scaling is above the origin and the house is smaller and it is going closer to the origin. See, initially you had the scaled before scaling you had an house in this manner. Okay, see that after scaling process, that is with the scaling factor sx half and sy 1 by 2 1 by 4, you are going to decrease the size of the object. So it has been decreased and also it started moving towards the origin. Okay, so that is after scaling your object will be this in this manner. Okay, and see the points end points. So 4 comma 5 is being changed to 2 comma 5 by 4, and 7 comma 5 is being changed to 7 by 2 comma 5 by 4. See, this is after scaling you have got the end points in this manner. Let us take, so another example shows that if the scaling factor had been greater than 1, your object will be start to grow in size. Okay, that is it goes larger and it goes away from the origin. So watch out the objects growing and moving. So initial object you had an house in this manner, okay, that is with endpoints 2, 1 and 3, 1. Now the after scaling process your house shifts away from the origin. So you can see that the new house where it is being drawn after scaling process. Okay, since the value of scaling factors are more than 1, your object has been grown and also it has moved away from the origin. Let us see the code for scaling process. Again you have the same class, that is point 2d with certain values. Okay, we have initialized public float x comma y. Okay, then you have void scale polygon. So now again your input is polygon. So it can give square or any rectangle or a house structure, anything it can be, but we want a polygon here. And next the vertices whatever you are going to initialize, all these will be in the form of array. So we need point 2d asterisk sign vertices pointed to vertex, and then you have gl int number of vertices of the polygon and point 2d fixed point. Okay, so this is a fixed point, means the xf and yf point you are going to choose. Okay, to relating to this point you are going to scale an object. Okay, you keep an point on the screen, and relative to that particular point you are going to scale the object. So that's why we have a fixed point there. And next we have floating float xx and xy sy. So this is scaling factors. And next we have point 2d vertex new. So this is an variable you are going to define for new vertices. Okay, vertices you are going to generate after scaling process. Then we have gl int k for k is equal to 0, k less than a number of vertices, k plus plus vertex. So new vertices whatever you want to generate, we have a formula there how to calculate the new vertices. So you have uh, in the scaling this you have the formula x dash is equal to, this x dash is equal to x into the previous, so this is previous x value into the scaling factor sx. Okay, sx plus the fixed point xf into 1 minus sx. So this is your formula. So same formula we are applying here to calculate the x coordinate, new x coordinate. And next y dash if you want to calculate, that's also vertex new y is equal to previous vertex y value into scaling factor sy, and fixed point, or you can say yf into 1 minus scaling factor about y scaling factor. Then after generating the two new vertices, so that is x dash and y dash, two new vertices. So if the number of so this loop will end based on the number of vertices. So you are going to have the polygon as the input. So if your polygon is with the 3 vertices, for simple triangle means, then it will be k less than 3. Okay, like this. Okay, you are going to generate 3 vertices. So similarly, now we just first loop when it iterates, you are going to generate one single vertex. As the loop continues, you are going to generate 3 vertices for a triangle. Okay, then you are going to have a polygon that has to be drawn on the screen. So that's why we have a code gl begin gl underscore polygon for k is equal to 0, k less than number of vertices, k plus plus, and one by one you are going to generate the vertex. So this is these values are taken from array again, the new vertex values whatever you have generated in the previous code lines. Okay, so then one by one you start generating the or drawing the actual code on this actual figure on the screen. Okay, then GL begin has to end with GL end.